We're going to hear from Chief Beck and other top officials with the LAPD, as well as Staff Sergeant Cullins' friends and family. We're going to hear from the people who knew him best. We're also going to have a number of presentations, concluding with a presentation certificate to Joshua's parents that represents what we're doing here. And then we will actually unveil this sign to my right, and we will officially unveil it for the first time. So I'll be relatively brief because this is about the spirit of Joshua Cullins. To LAPD Chief Charlie Beck, Deputy Chief John Sherman, Captain Maureen Ryan, Officer Steve Hennigan, Cooper Collins, all behind me, as well as all the folks I see here in the audience. We have former Councilmember Zine, we have members of the Winnetka Neighborhood Council, we have friends, we have family, we have community members, all of you here. Thank you for joining and paying homage to our fallen brother, son, and friend. Those who knew Staff Sergeant Officer Cullins will recall his selfless, determined commitment to protect his fellow service members and fellow citizens. He served both his nation and his local community by keeping us secure here at home as an LAPD officer and as an explosive ordnance disposal Marine in Afghanistan. He was attached to 1st Explosive Ordnance Disposal Company, 1st Marine Logistical Group, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force, nicknamed Forward. He was also a proud officer of the LAPD, first assigned to the department's Topanga Division before transferring to the Central Area Station. Staff Sergeant Officer Cullins was a young man of tremendous courage and accomplishment, because while serving in the Marines, he earned almost a dozen medals and awards, including 2 combat action ribbons and also a Purple Heart. His role as a bomb technician meant being a leader who stepped forward into danger. When asked who will go for us, Staff Sergeant Officer Cullins stepped forward to answer, "I'm here. I'll go forward." He took responsibility upon himself to clear a path to make it safe so fellow Marines and others who followed could proceed without danger. It requires rock-solid nerves and the kind of grit to make that long walk toward a bomb and disarm it. But Staff Sergeant Officer Cullins had that special kind of courage. He was not afraid to put his life on the line so that others could be safe. And that's just one of the many attributes that make him a hero. Heroes are risk takers. Heroes are willing to do that which others are often not. They answer the call to action and are willing to put themselves in jeopardy to protect and to serve. Now, I didn't have the pleasure of actually knowing Staff Sergeant Cullins. I first learned of Staff Sergeant Cullins last year when I met Susan Emsley, the teacher at St. Martin's School right here, and a friend of the Cullins family. It was an event just a few hundred feet from where we are today. She told me about this idea to rename the intersection after Joshua Cullins. And she mentioned that for years, she and Gunnery Sergeant Ernie Napper had tried to get a street named after Cullins, but hadn't been successful. She talked to Keith Banks on my staff, who heard her and came to me and said, "Hey, can't we do something here?" We got together in my office and we said, let's figure out how to make this happen. And today we have the fruits of those labors. I see kids here. This is what happens when people like Susan Emsley get an idea, they put it in there, they get that idea together, they work with others, great things can happen. So I'm honored to have helped bring this day to fruition, to help celebrate Staff Sergeant Cullins' service to our community and country. Now, pleased to get us started, let's welcome the LAPD Emerald Society. They'll play a few songs including America the Beautiful, God Bless America, and they'll end with a Marine Corps hymn. And don't be surprised if as they're playing, we see the condors fly overhead. They're going to do a special flyover, including the Missing Man formation, to honor Joshua Cullins. Now, Emerald Society.
Be seated.
Next we'll have, let's welcome to the stage LAPD Officer Rosalind Curry, who will sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Honor guard! Court! Park! Uniform detail! Order! Park! Honor guard! Right! Hey!
Wow, beautiful, beautiful rendition. Thank you. You see the condors above. Next, we're going to bring up the chaplain of St. Martin's Episcopal Church, David Kitch. David, would you please come? And watch for the missing man formation that the condors will do on the next pass.
Good morning. We of St. Martin's School and Church, the members, the faculty, the staff, and the students, want to thank all our esteemed guests, all of you who have come, and particularly the Cullins family, for giving us the honor of sharing in this wonderful event with you. Thank you. Would you please join me in asking a blessing for this time? Holy One, we ask your blessing. May today remind, renew, and inspire us. May we be reminded of those who have freely gifted us of their own lives. May our own souls be renewed, that we may gift others with our lives. May we be inspired by a life well lived to strive to be our very best selves. May we find the richness and fullness at the heart of such oft overused words as honor, integrity, and sacrifice. And may we hold to the truth that faith, hope, and love are the most powerful forces in the cosmos. Holy One, we ask your blessing. Amen.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from our Chief of Police, Chief Charlie Beck.
Be seated, please. First, I want to thank our Councilmember Bob Blumenfield for all his work in putting this together and his staff. And I want to thank St. Martin's, not only for all the recognition that you bring to the Los Angeles Police Department, but also for bringing the young people out. You know, it's just so important for them to be a part of this, because, you know, this is about not about the end, it's about the beginning, and they are our future. So Josh was, is, and will always be my brother, and not my brother by blood like with Donovan and Cooper, but my brother by choice, because he selected the Los Angeles Police Department. Josh selected both the Los Angeles Police Department and the United States Marine Corps for the same reasons. It was his desire for service, desire to make a difference, desire to protect others. But most importantly, it was his desire to be part of something greater than just one person, something greater than himself. And these two organizations weren't chosen by happenstance, they were chosen because he believed, as do I, that these are two of the finest, most noble organizations on the face of the earth. And to be a part of them is to be a part of something special, something that lasts forever. In both organizations, leaders like me send primarily young men and women into harm's way for the benefit of others. In both organizations, sometimes they lose their lives. And we mourn the loss, but we celebrate the achievement. We celebrate what Josh was and is. We celebrate what he means to each and every person in this audience. We celebrate the qualities that I see in both his brothers when I talk to them. And we celebrate a life, while it was cut short, was well lived and lived with purpose. Josh knew that both of the professions he chose, that of Marine and that of police officer, were dangerous. Josh knew the consequences of that danger. But he also knew this, just like all of you know this, that should you fall, should any of us fall, that the rest will carry you forward for all eternity. That is the promise, that is the contract, that is the agreement that we make with each other. that should the worst happen, you will live forever in all of us. And that's what this sign is about. Living forever in the memories of all of us. So thank you, Jim and Barb. You know, there's a blessing in every tragedy, and my blessing out of this tragedy is knowing you and meeting your sons and watching them grow up and watching them fulfill the promise of their brother. So thank you for unflaggingly being at every event, pushing Josh's memory forward, making sure that those that didn't know him, making sure that all of us remember him, and being the great, great parents that you have been. So in closing, I want to tell all of you that Josh watches us now, right now. He sees this, he feels this. He is completed by this. And may God bless every one of you. May God bless the Cullins family. And may God bless the Los Angeles Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next, we'll hear from Deputy Chief John Sherman for the LAPD for the Valley, the San Fernando Valley. Thanks.
Good morning. Like the Chief said, I really want to extend a sincere thanks to the councilman and his office and his staff and Keith for putting this together and putting this on so we can honor and recognize Josh. And what a remarkable turnout this morning in honor of Josh's memory and in honor of this this great ceremony that we're having this morning. So thank you all for being here. As I put my thoughts together for my few remarks this morning, I Googled hero. A person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. That definition absolutely fits Josh. Josh was twice the protector. He served in the United States Marine Corps, defending our nation and protecting all of our freedoms. And then, as the Chief said, he chose to come and protect the community here in Los Angeles. And he did both of those as a peacemaker, taking care of others. And he did that, ultimately giving the ultimate sacrifice. He did it as a hero. Our society establishes memorials so we can always remember the fallen. So you will never forget, and so the future generations will never forget the men and women that have come before us and that have sacrificed so much to make this country and this community great. So to have a memorial here is an outstanding place to put it in recognition of Josh. I don't think you could find a better place for it. This is the community here of St. Martin's, where Josh's brothers went to school, where his family lived and grew up in this area, where Josh worked. He came here to Canoga Park as a police officer and served the community here, and spent a lot of time at this church and serving this community as a police officer in Topanga. I don't think we could find a better place with faith, education, family, and community to honor and recognize Josh's name and what he did and what he gave to this community and to this country. Jim and Barbara, Donovan and Cooper, thank you for sharing Josh with all of us and letting him touch all of us. I know that this memorial is not going to fill a gap in your hearts, the gap in the heart that you have, that we all have, but hopefully it'll bring fond memories and it'll bring satisfaction that we will always remember. Again, these children are awesome sitting out here because we're doing it for them and for the future, so they'll know what Josh gave to this community and to our country. So to the Cullins family, thank you for your sacrifice, and God bless you. God bless the United States Marine Corps and the Los Angeles Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Please welcome Captain Maureen Ryan of the Topanga Division.
Good morning, everyone, and a special good morning to the Cullins family that I have the honor of knowing since Josh's graduation from the academy at the end of 2008, right through the holidays. I was the first patrol captain at Topanga Division, and I'm the one that shook his hand and welcomed him to Topanga after his graduation. He was in the first group of probationers that came and opened the station with us on January 4th, 2009. Getting to know him and his classmate, Grant Hansen, was an honor, as well as getting to know everybody at Topanga. However, the two of them were like frickin' frack, and I couldn't tell them apart. And they were always together, and they worked morning watch, and I remember the first roll call, I gave every officer that started that day a welcome letter and a coupon for some coffee. And I remember handing that to Josh, and he has a spirit about him that was like no other. His eyes would twinkle when he would talk to you. He was so humble, but so respectful. And I remember standing in the hallway with Hansen and Cullins and looking at them, and I said, I still can't tell you two apart. Can you start with first names, right? And so then they said their first names, which is taboo in our department, but it made me get to know them. And then after that, I'd look and I'd try and remember, and he'd say, Joshua. So his spirit shone through his time as a probationer at Topanga. And it was during that time, it started to come about that he was somebody extra special. He was a Marine and a bomb tech. And I know I'm not saying the term exactly properly, but that he was above and beyond. And he touched so many people in his time at Topanga. And then he moved on to Central, and then he was deployed. And I remember emailing with him, and when he last saw me, I was expecting twins, so he was constantly asking about my girls and send pictures, and that he was there to do his duty, but he was looking forward to coming home. And that was what we all prayed for. He was above and beyond. He touched everyone with something special. There was absolutely something special about this young man, which is evidenced today by all of you being here. A little bit to the little ones over here. I got the honor of talking to some of them as they were filing out, and somebody looked up and said, oh, a police girl. And how many of you boys and girls know of a superhero that you like in cartoons or the movies or anything like that? Well, you know what? Josh was a superhero. And though he didn't wear a cape or any magic bracelets, he was a superhero. And you don't forget that. And you too can grow up to be a superhero just like Joshua Cullins. You can join the Marine Corps, you can join the Los Angeles Police Department. It's all up to you. Boys and girls can do whatever they want, and they can become great and touch lives like Joshua Cullins did. With that, I just wanted to say thank you to Jim and Barbara and Cooper and Donovan to allow us to have known your son, to know your brother. We will never forget him. If any of you in the community or the school or the Marines would like to come, we are having an open house at Topanga Division on Sunday, and you can see our memorial to Josh where his bomb gear is enclosed, and we would welcome you at any time to do a field trip and come see that. And with that, I just want to say thank you very much to the council office for getting this off the ground and seeing it through, and to the Cullins family. He will always be part of the Topanga family. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Ryan. Next, we want to welcome Officer Stephen Hennigan of the LAPD Bomb Squad. He was also a close friend of Sergeant Cullins.
Thank you, sir. First, I'd like to acknowledge Sean and Susie and the gunnery sergeant. If you guys could please stand up. They were the ones that cut through the red tape and asked for this honor today, and I would personally like to thank you, and I know Jim and Barbara and Cooper and Donovan already have, so thank you very much. I would like to welcome all of JJ's friends, Marine Corps, police officers, retired Marines that are here. Some of the Marines that you guys will meet today were deployed in far-off foreign lands with JJ. There is a Marine here that was there that fateful day, an unfortunate day, but he is here, and I'm glad he's here with his wife and children, and I don't want to point him out and put him on the spot, but I love the man. The Marines that are here from 1st EOD Company, they all have their sunglasses on because they're tired. They were training last night till probably midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. The general let them go. They had to report at 0600 at Camp Pendleton to be up here. And thank you, gentlemen, for coming. There's Marines in suit and ties around here that are incognito that you might not see. They're special operators, and there's even some in long hairs here that are retired. But these are true heroes, as are our men in blue, female officers in blue. Thank you. I did not know JJ as long as some of you have. I'd like to also acknowledge JJ's classmates from high school, Alex and Colt, I know are here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing your family. Thank you for letting me be a part of your friendship also. Just real quick funny stories about JJ. I had to keep it light and so I don't start crying up here, but you know, a street sign is fitting for JJ. He came to my house many times before he was deployed, and we did have one conversation, and I know I'm going to date myself here, but I know there's some old Marines from Vietnam here that know what I'm about to talk about. But JJ said one night when we were talking before he left, and he said, "Hey Steve, if something happens to me," you know, I made him many promises that night, but one promise I did make to him, he goes, "Please, if something happens to me, don't let him name a bathroom after me like they did in the Green Berets, the John Wayne movie." I said, "Don't worry, bro, that's not going to happen." A street sign with his name on it. Some of the guys can recount stories in Kuwait when, for some reason, JJ got on bus driving detail, and they'll be able to tell you why he was doing it. But JJ didn't pay attention to the street signs that he was supposed to go. Didn't pay attention to the bus stops. He was supposed to pick up other military personnel. Instead, he would just drive the bus as fast as he could, hitting the speed bumps, bouncing around, and then when he'd see his EOD brothers, he would stop and pick them up and do his typical, open the door, "Where you going, bro? Jump in." So just some of the stories. So having a street dedicated after him is something else. Now, I know some of you see with my radio, I've got a prop up here, but I'm going to do something that our police officers and everybody's going to understand why I'm doing it, but just bear with me and please listen. 3 David 233.
3 David 233, go ahead.
3 David 233. Show me code 6. Staff 1, Staff 7, Commander 21, family, friends, United States Marines at the intersection of Joshua Cullins Way and Quakertown Avenue.
3 David 233, code 6 Joshua J. Cullins at Quakertown, with family and friends, Staff 1, Staff 7, Commander 21, family, friends, and U.S. Marine.
3 David 233, clear. Thank you.
3 David 233, clear.
Thank you. Please welcome Staff Sergeant Cullins' younger brother, Cooper Cullins. Cooper.
Alrighty. Most of you probably remember me from 7 years ago the goofy little kid who liked trucks and really, really liked helicopters. None of that's really changed, to tell you the truth, but a lot has. After my time here at St. Martin's, I went on to Oaks Christian for high school, and then after that I found myself at Long Beach State, where I'm currently finishing out my second year. And also somebody let me be captain of the ski and snowboard team. Don't know how that happened. But that's enough about me, because that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about my brother Josh. 7 years ago, on a gloomy October morning, life is going as usual for 12-year-old me. I was getting ready for school to come to St. Martin's really early, because I live far, but besides that, nothing on my mind but probably video games, Call of Duty, something like that, maybe some schoolwork. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, all former teachers. But there was a knock on the door that morning that changed my life forever. In that moment began a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, and a hell of a lot of growing up fast. That morning, I thought I lost my brother forever. But little did I know that he'd be still living on through his friends and family that cared about him most 7 years later. And for that, I say thank you to all that are here, as well as all of those that avoid the spotlight that I know are hit the hardest by all of this. With that being said, I'd like to talk about my Josh, not JJ, because honestly, JJ didn't come around till all of this happened. Like my brother, his high school friends, that tagged on from the Marines. I know Josh. What a lot of time is overshadowed by his military service or time in the LAPD is punk-ass Josh. My bully big brother, who bleached his hair in high school. That happened. It really did. There's pictures. The guy that introduced me to Jackass, Crusty Demons of Dirt, and the movie Full Metal Jacket, way too young. Way too young. The guy that drove his truck way too fast up and down First Street, 3 tickets in 3 months, according to my mother, all speeding, of course. And also, side note, how much sub do you really need in a little Toyota truck to blast Du Hast, Blink-182, Bolt Thrower, and Dragon Force on repeat? Let's be real here. But that Josh affected my life more than anything. He called me names. Skunk Breath was one of his favorites. Pushed me harder and made me who I am today. Almost everything I do to this day, some way leads its way back to him. Whether it's dirt biking, snowboarding, or pushing his truck a little too hard off-road, which I still drive, by the way. I know he's up there smiling. I find myself thinking before I do something, what would Josh do? Usually with that reasoning, it probably wasn't the smartest choice, the safest, and sleep was probably minimal. But I'll tell you what, every time it was memorable, new friends are probably made, and there's always a story to tell afterwards. My dad has told me multiple times that all he wishes for me, Donovan, Josh, and I, sorry Mom, and all English teachers, is for us to take care of each other. And that Josh did. He was a great big brother. He always splurged on the best Christmas presents, introducing Donovan and I to the things that parents couldn't buy us due to liability reasons, like paintball guns, airsoft guns, and pellet guns. He opened the door to so many things, and that I'm thankful for. If it wasn't for him, as well as his friends, like Alexis, Sal, Steve, I don't think I'd picked up on the hobbies I have now. I wouldn't be dirt biking like I am. I wouldn't be snowboarding. And I for sure wouldn't be into off-roading. It's just amazing how influential all of them are on my brother as well as I. And I know my brother, Donovan, as well, who I might add, has filled those big brother shoes with ease. Love you, Donovan. I always got your back. And I know you always have mine. Another thing I picked up from Josh, and I think everyone should, is his laid-back attitude. Everything was just light to him. If it was a serious thing, it wasn't serious. But he knew when to calm down, but like everything was kind of a joke. But he hit his oil pan on a rock off-roading in his brand new Toyota truck. It's cool, bro. His dirt bike is stuck in 3 feet of dry lake bed mud. It's cool, bro. A hole in your parents' drywall after a night out. I know that's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. It's cool, bro. I know a guy. That guy was my dad. He does great drywall work if anybody needs anything done. Can hang sheetrock like a champ. To sum it all up, Josh lived life to the fullest. He took risks, and he didn't worry. As well, he taught me that family extends beyond your blood, and family should always come first. He laid down his life for his friends doing what he loved, and there's nothing greater than that. He lived more in the 28 years he had on this earth than many live in a lifetime, and I live to emulate that. I would like to close by giving some thanks on the behalf of my family and I. I'd like to thank the LAPD and Marines for all the support, as well as the City of Los Angeles. I'd like to thank Police Chief Charlie Beck for the genuine care for our family. It's just personal. We're not just another docket on his to-do list. He truly cares for our family. And a special thank you to the St. Martin's community. I was in, I messed up, I don't know, 7th grade? 6th grade, 7th grade, when this all happened to me. My life got thrown into turmoil. And the community of St. Martin's took care of me. They truly laid down the groundwork for who I am today. And just a side note, my favorite picture of Josh and I, which I found while going through my grandparents' house that I didn't even know existed, is it's a picture of me in the 1st grade in Miss Dunlap's class. And it's, I have all my gear, I have all his gear on. He came in to do like the whole like, I'm a Marine, 1st graders, ask me questions, I wear camo, that type of thing. And he brought all his gear, and it's a picture of me with his giant rucksack and his whole plate carry and everything on. 1st grade me with all that on, just like a smirk ear to ear, just smiling, and he's in the background with the exact same smile. And I brought that to college with me. It's always on my desk, and I just love that picture, and it's something I'd like to share. There are 1,000 more thank yous that I'd like to give, but we'd be here all night, and we don't really have time for that. But thank you for listening to my rant of a speech, and thank you for all coming out.
Hardly a rant, it was a beautiful speech. Really, really beautiful. Now, before we unveil the sign, I want to call a couple of people up. Susan Emsley and Sean Emsley and Sergeant Gunner, if you guys would make your way to the stage. They were mentioned earlier as really carrying the torch for this idea of renaming this. I'd love to say that I came up with this or my staff came up with it. We didn't. These 3 folks who we're bringing up now had this idea and really pursued it. They talked with Keith on my staff, and we all worked together to make it happen. But I wanted to give them special recognition because you carried this idea for years until we had that fateful meeting where we got to meet, and the rest is history. So I wanted to give you each a certificate of appreciation for that. Susan, Sean, Sergeant Gunner now. Let's give them a big round. Let's give them a big round of applause. Stay nearby for the sign unveiling. And I also want to bring up Jim and Barbara. If you guys could come up for a moment. What I'm going to present to them is this certificate signed by me and the mayor and the council president, and it's this beautiful calligraphy, and it basically is the official document that is making this possible. It is it says, whereas Joshua Cullins was a decorated soldier, and it goes on to talk about his service. Now be it resolved, the city recognizes Joshua Cullins' contribution to the St. Martin School, and it is our honor to commemorate the intersection of Gault Street and Quakertown Avenue as Joshua Cullins Way. So please accept this token of appreciation for that. So, no amount of wreaths or music or memorializing will be enough of a thank you that we have for Josh. But it's good for us that we honor his service, remembering his sacrifice. So today we pay homage to our hero and patriot, Staff Sergeant and Officer Joshua Cullins, and to all those in uniform who have served beyond the call of duty and gave their lives. And if I could ask parents to come down, and we will hold the sign and we will do the official unveiling of the sign. Thank you, everybody. We have a reception in the back if anyone wants to join. Got refreshments and all. And again, thank you all for coming out.